I published a full-length novel on Amazon for free. That's the tagline. This is the book, and I am Ryan Stark. My name is Ryan Stark, and this is what I hope will be the first of a series of short or maybe long videos on writing. I'm not a professional YouTuber, as you can probably see by my office, but I have become a professional writer. So let's begin. I've been writing for around 30 years, both for work and in my spare time, but it wasn't until 2011 that I decided to take things seriously. The kids had left, I had a spare room. And as a result, 10 years ago, today, 15th of December, I uploaded my first complete novel to Kindle Direct Publishing, making it available to buy as a paperback and an ebook on Amazon. It was the end of a 4-year project to publish my own novel, and in those 4 years I learnt a lot and realised I knew very little. I won't go to every detail, we can look at those in later videos. This is mostly an overview of the journey. So let's start at the beginning. Now that is a very good question. It pays to have an idea. My genre was crime fiction. There's plenty of source material for ideas. I'd watched TV shows, I knew how they worked. I liked them. I enjoyed writing them. And I had a plot. 12 years ago, a small group of people graduated from Coventry University. Now they all live and work in the same part of North London. The best of friends and the worst of enemies. 4 years ago, one of the group was murdered, and the murderer was never found. Now, a second member of the group has been murdered in an identical fashion. Our heroes? Well, I have protagonists. Detective Inspector Scott Daly, brash, goal-driven, intuitive. And I have Detective Sergeant Deborah Whetstone. She is more conservative and people-driven. She's the whetstone to his sword. So it's tempting to open a blank document and start typing. But I've tried that and it didn't work. So what did I actually need in order to write a book? Well, the idea, and the plot line, and characters, and settings, and a few other things too. To give my plot some structure, I chose the much vaunted Save the Cat beat sheet. It's tried and tested. It's a method of planning a book or a play or a film script such that all the plots happen when the reader or viewer expects them to. When to plan a jump scare, when to make the hero feel they're never going to succeed, how they regroup and save the day. I've added a link below if you want to look at it. So taking these plot points, I weaved together my story idea to suit the ebb and flow of the beat sheet. My book was to be around 80 to 90,000 words. My outline was around 4,000 or 5,000 words. It's good to have an outline, it keeps you on track, it brings you back to the plot, back to the storyline. Characters. My characters were made up to suit the story as I went along. This is the hard part in my opinion, garnering enough characters with sufficiently varied personalities. Also at least one of them is a killer, and one of them is going to die. Not as easy as it sounds, but the advice I was given was, forget the title, one will appear. And it did, Killing by the Book. Well, we all think we know what a book looks like, but I didn't really. So while my daughter Laura was at university, I raided her bookcase and looked at books, measured them, listed typefaces, margins, etc, etc. Once I had done that, I knew what a book looked like. I knew how it felt in my hands, what format I preferred, how the margins looked, what page structure, any pictures, images, and so on. So, what was left? Well, a popular phrase in writing is you can't edit an empty page. The best way to get anything done is to start. I know there are writers who can start at the beginning, work their way through the middle, and then reach the end. I'm not one of them. But I have an outline, right? So I can jump backwards and forwards, writing wherever the muse takes me. Okay? The result was a series of disconnected chapters and sections that then needed to be stitched together, and that took as long as the writing. In hindsight, my outline needed to be at least twice as long as I'd written it. Well, that depends on what you intend doing with your work. Me, I intended to publish a paper book with copyright pages, title pages, chapters, headers, footers, page numbers, acknowledgements, and the rest. Pen and paper just would not do. As an IT guy, I already had 25 years on Microsoft Word, so I knew inside out how to create a Word template that conformed to the insides of a book. I also checked the Kindle Direct Publishing guidelines. As I had chosen to publish on Amazon, it was called CreateSpace back then, but that's by the by. It paid that I was conforming to Amazon. That way, I could create a template with the correct font, styles, the headings, headers and footers, titles, and so forth. Another consideration is find and replace. You will be amazed at how often things chop and change. I knew MS Word was great at that. So all of the above is an ideal world. You don't need titles, copyrights, even headers and footers when you start writing. You probably need chapter and body text styles. The rest I completed as the process went along. Above all, I concentrated on the writing. That was the long, slow process. I even became a little obsessed and needed to be drawn back, but eventually I had what I believed to be a good first draft. The problem was a first draft is just that, a first draft. It will still need editing, it will need proofreading, it will need beta readers. I know mine did, a lot of it, which I have now done. And then there's considerations like the author bio, the cover, blurb, the other requirements from CreateSpace, metadata and so on. In IT I was a tech guy, not a creative. I knew my way around graphic software, but that was all. CreateSpace told me the sizes, but not what a cover should look like, not what it needed to stand out. As you can see, this one is suboptimal at best. It doesn't say anything at all. In case you're wondering, that is my daughter Laura when she was about 12 and she's leaning on the rails in Monte Cassino. It has absolutely nothing to do with the book, and that is Coventry Cathedral, bombed during the war. It has very little to do with the book. So this was my second attempt. That's Coventry in the background again. 54 is an old students' union. That has something to do with the book. And there's a financial scam, hence all the numbers rolling around in the background, but still really didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I zhuzhed it up a bit. Pretty much the same picture, slightly different, but it still didn't work. And that 54, in between those two sets of words at the bottom, what was I thinking? See, I'm a writer. I'm not looking at creatives. I know how this stuff works, but I don't know how to put this together. So I thought something entirely different. Shadowy figures. Shadowy figures are always good, aren't they, in thrillers? But look at that. Look at the number of styles that I've got in there. I've got like a brushed aluminium style behind the gold lettering. I've got some bitty style behind the Ryan Stark. But there's a forensic guy and there's a couple of coppers, so it's all good, isn't it? No. Well, maybe it's just the colour. Maybe everything was right but the colour. So let's tidy up the text at the bottom there. Keep the forensic guy and the two coppers and the telephone, and gosh, no sense of urgency, not really in the genre, didn't work. What about this one? There you go, same two coppers, she's still on that damn phone. There's a car in the background and there's forensic guys and they're picking stuff off the pavement. Yeah, that really means something, and it's in London, so that's a little bit nearer what we're trying to get at. But it just doesn't work, even though it's got red blood pouring out. So we changed the background. That's St Paul's Cathedral, that's definitely London, and she's not on the phone anymore, she's just having a stroll down the road. But it still doesn't work, it just doesn't float my boat, and I'm not quite sure why. But if I'm not sure, it obviously is wrong. So we went with back to Coventry Cathedral with a window. We put a glow behind the text and we made it nice and poppy. The only problem was killing by the book. Everyone interpreted the book to be the Bible because, of course, I'd put a cathedral window on the front of it. So whilst it sold, it didn't sell particularly well because people were put off straight away. So we get to the last one. Ryan Stark, a Daily and Whetstone crime story, killing by the book in big letters, and a man sitting on a railway line. That's pretty dangerous. And red on his jumper. That's pretty dangerous. It does have something to do with the story, but you'd have to get to that bit. And that's worked very well. That immediately put the sales up by about tenfold. So that was the one that is still on it today. This final result has proved to be very popular, and sales of the book have been much greater with this one. So I'm very pleased about this. It also taught me an awful lot about book covers. How many of you remember J.R. Hartley, an author searching for a book he wrote that disappeared into oblivion? I wanted to have my book read, so somehow I needed it published and available for sale. I could have followed the traditional route, facing umpteen rejections until I found a literary agent, and then umpteen more rejections before a publisher accepted the manuscript. Then umpteen revisions to suit the publisher. Admittedly, they would handle some of the advertising, but I'd still have an infinite wait for the publishing date. Then less than 10% royalties per copy and no control of my own work. And I'd be up against the Richard Osmans and the Sophie Kinsellas and all those other people who sell lots and generate more income for the publishing company. Or I could have chosen a hybrid or vanity publisher. With an upfront cost in the thousands, they would already have their money before they even read a page of my book. And that was their goal. My money, revisions and edits would have been minimal. Advertising even less, again, no control of my work and no visibility. So in the end, I chose self-publishing, which I knew I could do for free. I would retain control over my own work. I keep royalties of around 35%, sometimes more. The downside is that I must ensure the quality. I must do all my own advertising and marketing, all my own publicity. But the control issue outweighed giving my book away to somebody else who might change it. For me, that was the most important part. However, despite the hard work involved, I believe I've gained more from it than either of the other two routes. Undoubtedly, yes. Killing by the Book has sold hundreds of physical copies, paperbacks, and thousands of digital copies, ebooks, and I have published a book, albeit via the self-publishing route. It is available to buy online. There's a link in the description below and probably one at the bottom of this screen now. And I also have an Amazon page for the rest of my books. And one should bear in mind that it cost me nothing to write, to format and to publish these books. Aside from the software and the IT and the time, self-publishing is free if you do it right. Further videos to come, hopefully, that might show you how to do that. And above all, I'm not waiting on other people. I'm not waiting for rejections. I wouldn't use Word. MS Word is great, but special characters are not easy to see and you can't see the structure and move sections around very well. I'd employ a better editor. The first edition was pants. That has since been remedied, very much so. By a large stretch, I'd spend more time researching covers. These are the first thing the reader sees. People do buy with their eyes, and they reject with their eyes too. Well, Killing by the Book is still selling after 10 years. Sold a copy yesterday. And since that book was published, I produced 6 more, and I'm already started on number 8 of the set. And all the rest of my books are selling too. One good book generally feeds people into the next books if you can get them right. Usually I'm selling at least one of my books every day. Of course, it's not free. There have been costs. I've improved my computer setup. That cost money. I bought this equipment. That cost money. I've bought some specialist software to help with creating the manuscript and proofreading my work. And of course, marketing is down to me. I've spent money on marketing, but that is offset by my sales. As a result though, my production process has become slicker. I've spoken at author events across the country. I have my books available in the local library. People even walk up to me in the street and call me Ryan Stark, which is not my real name. I've joined 2 local writers groups and I'm soon to publish with them an anthology of short stories. And more pleasingly, I have an entirely new career that I can run myself from home and that I enjoy a lot more than my official career. Well, that's my first real YouTube video. If you enjoyed it, click like and subscribe, or better still, click the links below and take a look at my books. Maybe even buy one. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Ask me a question, and who knows, I may be able to answer it in the next video. Anyway, thank you for watching to the end, if indeed you did. And thanks to all the friends and family who supported me on my journey, not just in buying the book, but in showing me the way along a rocky road with many pitfalls. Finally, just please remember to like and subscribe. This is my first time. I don't know how it's going to go, but I would appreciate any support you can give. See you next time.